Welcome to Cardboard Chemistry. I'm your host, MTG Labman, and today we're continuing our series of favorite cards coming out from the Secrets of Strixhaven, and this one's going to be the doozy. This is my favorite black cards from the upcoming Secrets of Strixhaven set. If you listen to earlier episodes, I started out in the game in Azurius, Merfolk from Lorwyn set. Didn't have a lot of luck. I moved to mono black zombies when the original Plane Chase product was released, and black mana, Esper color identity is my main color identity, but I do love just mono black as a deck type, as a color identity, and black is probably my favorite color in the game. Plus, Secrets of Strixhaven is bringing a lot of heat in black, and I'm here for it. So let's move on to the card reviews. First off is Decorum Dissertation, 3 colorless, 2 black. For a sorcery lesson, target player draws 2 cards and loses 2 life. This is the paradigm card for black. So when you cast this, if you successfully cast it, each one of your turns, you get to draw 2 cards, lose 2 life, or you can target a player to draw 2 cards and lose 2 life. Like I said, still waiting for the paradigm mechanic to see how it plays out, but not the most powerful. It is good if you're looking to draw. You can at least draw 2 extra cards on your turn if you're running mono black. I can see it seeing some play, but like I said, the paradigm cards, they're not overly broken. I think they're very well balanced for what they do, especially for a recurring effect, but only time will tell to see how they actually play out in Commander. It is 5 mana, so it's not super high on the curve, but I don't know if I would play this card. Moving on to the other end of the spectrum that I want to play this card. I'm trying to find a slot for it in my Zooey deck, and that is the black Emeritus. Right, there's Emeritus for each color of mana. This is Emeritus of Woe, a 5/4 Vampire Warlock. This creature enters prepared. So 4 mana, it enters prepared. At the beginning of your end step, if 2 or more creatures died this turn, this creature becomes prepared. So in black, in aristocrat strategies, in sacrifice strategies, there's no shortage of 2 creatures dying in a turn. And it doesn't even say your creatures, so combat, even if 2 creatures die during combat, this becomes prepared. The prepared card on this, the prepared spell on this card is Demonic Tutor. So search your library for any card and put that card in your hand, then shuffle. So recurring Demonic Tutor, if creatures die. Granted, Demonic Tutor is at sorcery speed, but honestly, I'm trying to find a spot for this. Just another way to tutor, look through my deck to see what to grab a key piece of interaction or a key component. Super solid card. This card's going to be probably expensive, but definitely my favorite of the Emeritus sets, or the Emeritus series for this set. Like I said, Demonic Tutor, like a Demonic Tutor on a stick, basically, is going to be awesome. I mean, if this sticks on the board, you could potentially Demonic Tutor every turn, or every one of your main phases, or every one of your turns, not every one of your main phases, every one of your turns, to find the components and build out your board. Moving on, we have Forum Necroscribe, 5 colorless and a black for a 5/4 Troll Warlock with Ward. Discard a card. So somebody's trying to target this, they have to discard a card to target it. Repartee. So this is Silver Quill. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell that targets a creature, return target creature you control from your graveyard to the battlefield. Doesn't restrict mana value, doesn't restrict power and toughness. Cast a spell, destroy somebody's thing, bring something of yours back. Granted, it is 6 mana for this to be on the board. It does have a little bit of protection, but super powerful ability. Destroy something and bring one of your things back, recur something of yours. Moving on to another card that I'm looking for Zoe-Fit, and that's Grave Researcher, 2 colorless and a black for a 3/3 Troll Warlock. At the beginning of your upkeep, surveil 1. Then if there are 3 or more creature cards in your graveyard, this card becomes prepared. Mono black, self-mill. Pretty easy to have 3 creature cards in your graveyard. And the prepared spell on this is Reanimate. 1 black for sorcery, put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. You lose life equal to that card's mana value. Another thing. Every turn, surveil, if your graveyard's full of creatures, you can pay 1 black and bring out your best creature. Yeah, you lose life equal to its mana value, but you're bringing out a huge threat, one of your key combo pieces, and it's surveilling 1 and having 3 creatures in your graveyard seems like a no-brainer. Seems like very easy hoops to jump through to actually get Reanimate every one of your turns. Moving on to an uncommon, we have Leech Collector, 1 colorless and 1 black for a 2/2 human warlock. Whenever you gain life for the first time each turn, this creature becomes prepared. Super easy to gain life. And its spell is Bloodletting for 1 black sorcery. Each opponent loses 2 life. So you gain a life. It's kind of like a once per your turn extort. Gain a life, pay 1, and each opponent loses 2 life. So it's a little bit better than extort. But pretty solid card for an uncommon slot. Moving on to the third card that I'm trying to fit into Zoe-Fit is Mosio Vane's New Dean, 2 colorless and a black for a 2/1 legendary creature bird skeleton warlock with flying. When Mosio enters, create a 1/1 black and green pest creature token with whenever this token attacks, you gain 1 life. And it has Infusion. At the beginning of your end step, if you gain life this turn, return up to 1 target creature card with mana value X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield, where X is the amount of life you gain this turn. For Zoe-Fit, I run Grey Merchant. I have Meat Hook Massacre in that deck. Disciple of Bolus, where I'm sacking huge creatures like a Death Shadow for 13, gain 13 life. And then I could bring back anything with mana value 13 or less from my graveyard to the battlefield. Just seems crazy payoff for just gaining life. Super powerful card. I could see this being a face commander of a deck. I would build a mono black deck with this, but like I said, I already run Zoe-Fit, and I think this would go in the 99 of that deck instead of me just building a new commander deck. But I could see, hey, life gain, reanimate something. Might even have to order a second copy for Karlov. Oh, you blew up my Mother of Runes. I gain 1 life. End of my turn, I bring back Mother of Runes, or I bring back one of the Soul Sisters or something. Super easy to recur creatures in that deck. Moving on to the only Planeswalker I'm going to talk about, Ral Zarek, Guest Lecture, 1 colorless, 2 black. For a legendary Planeswalker, Ral enters with 3 loyalty counters on him. Add 1 loyalty, surveil 2, -1 loyalty. Any number of target players each discard a card. -2, return target creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. And -7, I call the anti-Ral, right? This is a hint to Reality Fracture. Flip 5 coins. Target opponent skips their next X turns, where X is the number of coins that came up heads. So other Rals, you flip coins, you gain extra turns. This Ral takes away opponent's turns, which I think is just brutal. If you alt this and you choose one player and you get, even if you get like 2 heads up coins, they have to skip their next 2 turns. In a game of Commander, they can't do anything for 2 turns. Like, your other 2 opponents will finish them off. They're stuck at a huge disadvantage. Moving on, we have Scheming Silvertongue, 1 colorless and a black for a 1/3 vampire warlock with flying and lifelink. At the beginning of your second main phase, if you gain 2 or more life this turn, this creature becomes prepared. Like I said, aristocrats, life gain decks, vampire decks, not hard to gain life. The spell on this is Sign in Blood, 2 black. Target player draws 2 cards and loses 2 life. So you gain your 2 life, then you can Sign in Blood at the beginning of your second main phase, right? So if you gain life in your first main phase, or even during combat, you gain 2 life. Well, if you have 2 mana open, you can pay the 2 mana, Sign in Blood, draw 2 cards, lose 2 life. Pretty simple to do. Pretty cool to see this this paradigm mechanic on a card. Moving on, we have Withering Curse, 1 colorless and 2 black for a sorcery. All creatures get -2/-2 until end of turn. Doesn't seem that big. I mean, 3 mana for -2/-2. You know, most of those are X spells where you have to pump in 2. So, like, even Meat Hook is 2 colorless, or two black, and then X, the original Meat Hook. So if you wanted to give everything -2/-2, you'd have to pay 4 mana into it. This is 3. Everything gets -2/-2 until end of turn. But this is part of the Witherbloom mechanic. In Fusion, if you gain life this turn, destroy all creatures instead. Aristocrats, graveyard-based strategies, gaining life isn't that hard. And Infusion doesn't care about how much life you gained, only if you gained life. So you can 3 mana sorcery board wipe if you gain life that turn. So going to be super powerful, reason why it's in the Mythic Rare slot. We're going to transfer over now to the black cards from the Commander product for Secrets of Strixhaven. Up first is Changing Loyalty, 1 colorless and a black for an enchantment aura with flash, so you can cast it at instant speed. Replicate 2. Replicate, you can pay that 2 any additional times, and you create copies of this aura. And then whenever you enchant a creature, when an enchanted creature dies, return it to the battlefield under your control. So flash this out before a board wipe, enchant the best creatures, and gain control of them. Moving on, we have Ominous Harvest, 2 colorless and a black for a sorcery with Gravestorm. When you cast a spell, copy it for each permanent put on into a graveyard from the battlefield this turn. Target player draws a card and loses 1 life. Aristocrat strategies, you're throwing things into your graveyard. You could copy this. You could, make an opponent draw 10 cards, lose 10 life. You could target yourself if you're gaining life. Draw 10 cards, lose 10 life. Gravestorm's really cool on cards. Just glad to see that mechanic come back. And finally, the last card I'm going to talk about is Stensian Sanguinist, 1 colorless, 1 black for a Vampire Cleric, 2/2. Whenever you attack, target creature gains Death Touch until end of turn. Whenever that creature deals combat damage to a player this combat, this creature becomes prepared, and the prepared spell on this card is Exsanguinate, X and 2 black, sorcery. Each opponent loses X life. You gain life equal to the life lost this way. Vampire decks, notorious for gaining life. You give something death touch, it deals damage. Something with evasion, you can cast Exsanguinate. Really self-explanatory. Like I said, black really pulled it out for this set. And honestly, this just makes me super excited for Secrets of Strixhaven. And looking forward to it. Like I said, this ends the black favorite black cards from this set. Please feel free to like, share, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you guys are looking forward to for Secrets of Strixhaven, and I'll catch you guys on the next.